Hi everyone, the bear is back in the kitchen and today we are going to make some gooey brownies. Let's get going. So for this recipe you're going to need some eggs, some cocoa powder, some plain flour, some light brown sugar, some butter, some chocolate chips, and some chocolate. And finally, some vanilla extract. First thing you're going to want to do is get your roasting tin or your baking tin and just line it with a bit of butter. Now it doesn't have to be too much. And we're doing this just to help the parchment paper stick. Because the last thing you want is for your brownies to stick to the tray. Now once you've had a fight with your baking tray and your greaseproof paper, you can put this to one side and bring out your trusty scales. So what you're going to need to start with is melt together your ingredients that need melting. So you're going to need 150 grams of butter, so about halfway there, 122, 137, 161, that's too much. We just need 150. You know what? That'll do. Into this you need 75 grams of light brown flour, sugar, sorry. There we go. And then you also need 100 grams of any chocolate that you want. I'm going to go for milk chocolate in this instance. Just pour that in there. Now it is a 100 gram bar, so I know there's 100 grams in there. And then you're going to want to put this over a bain-marie, keeping it warm until it's fully melted. So I've just got a very small pan with some boiling water in there. And just keep mixing this together until it's melted. Now the secret of a bain-marie is you do not want the bottom of your container to touch the hot water because you don't want anything to burn. So we'll come back in a few minutes. So while your chocolate is melting, you want to crack 3 eggs into a bowl. And number 3. Also with 125 grams of caster sugar. Now I forgot it's supposed to have caster sugar in it, so it won't be in the ingredients at the beginning of the video. I apologise, but it's 125 grams of caster sugar. Yeah, there we go, 125 grams. And you will now want to get your hand beater or your machine and just beat it until it's creamy. So I've now been whipping them for about 3 minutes, and as you can see it has increased in volume, and you kind of want to get like a thick, you kind of want that cream texture, but this is aerated. This is what's going to give you your lift within the brownie itself. You're then going to want to add your vanilla extract, so just a splash, maybe 2 splashes. And then you are going to want to get another bowl, and you are going to be wanting to add 150 grams of plain flour. So let's give it a go. take a little bit out of that. 150 grams. You can now get rid of your scales because you are done with them. What you are going to need though is you're going to need a fine sieve. And if you just place this over your egg and just add a little bit of flour at a time. Lift it up and just gently sieve it in. So that's the first bit of flour mixed in. Now, because of the air that you pumped into the egg, you just want to be very careful in folding this in because you don't want to knock the air out. So just gently fold the flour in. So this is only half the flour at the moment. And once that's mixed in, you're then going to want to add the other half of the flour. Nice and gently, don't rush it. Trust me, you are going to want to do this right. You will get the most gorgeous brownies. It will take time to mix in, but it is so worth it. Okay, so let's add the rest. You are also going to need 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And the most important part, 3 heaped tablespoons of cocoa powder. Now, you might be asking yourself, why aren't you just putting this straight into the sieve? And you know what? I was asking myself that as soon as I measured the baking powder. So, you can actually just put this straight into a sieve instead of having to measure it because it's all by a spoon. So, lesson learned. So, we'll bring back our mixture with our sieve and we'll just pop that in there and we'll just shake it, getting rid of them big lumps and mixing together the baking powder and cocoa. There we go, and just fold them together. Once everything has been mixed and it is all lovely and sticky, bring over your golden sugar, chocolate and butter mix and just pour it all in. Make sure you get the remnants out of the bowl. And just mix all this together. You can smell the chocolate in this and it smells gorgeous. Give it all a mix, make sure it's all mixed together, and then we'll be ready to pour. So this has been in for about 20 minutes, and as you can see, it's now got that lovely cracked brownie signature. So let's just put a fork inside just to see how it comes out. Yep, it's got a little bit of chocolate residue on it, which means that it's going to be, hopefully, gooey in the middle. So we'll let that cool down and then we'll cut it. So these have now been out for about 5 minutes and they have cooled down a lot. So let's cut into it and see if we've got gooey. Certainly feels nice and soft. It's got semi-gooey. Still looks nice and moist on the inside. So let's do the taste test. So now it's time for the taste test. Okay, the sweet, the nice and fluffy. But they're not as gooey as I thought they would be. So the recipe said cook them for 30 minutes and they'll be gooey in the middle. I've had mine in for 20 and they're brownie. They're not gooey. I prefer mine to be a bit more gooey, so yeah, I'd give that about 7 out of 10. So yeah, they weren't as gooey as I thought they would be, but still nice. So if you like what you see, please keep viewing me, give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.